changes that are coming in for next year. So I'm very excited to watch them. But I do have to give a shout out to Dunlimited as well, because I know a few of those boys in terms of, you know, they come in the stream. I speak to them quite a lot. They've flown under the radar quite a lot to even get to this final. So they need some appreciation as well.
Oh, and they're going to get plenty of it, don't you worry. You know, whether whoever there'll be no bias in this cast. That much is for sure. We're going to have the bands coming in, and I think funky is a fair description before we've even seen 4 of them. We've got 2. Clubhouse, you know, talk to me about the map, Fresh. Obviously, we've said this is the only map we've seen Dunlimited take a win on against 10 Star, and it is going to be where they start. Dunlimited also took Clubhouse in their best of 3 against Makers as well, so very competent on this map. And then we've got bands like IQ and Thermite coming in.
Yeah, I think the actual map ban phase was pretty funky. I think, you know, the Clubhouse pick from 10 Stars, you say, they lost it against Unlimited. I think, you know, I would say it was a big, you know, a big move from them. And as well, we'll get later down the line if we get to Oregon as well. But yeah, IQ, Thermite, Azami, Mirror. IQ certainly is an odd ban that you would normally not see in this meta. You normally don't see IQ played, even on this map, let alone banned away. Obviously, that does open up Fatjo, it does open up Ace, Habana, a nice combination for the attackers there. Thermite's obviously, you know, going to be a good ban. Thermite gets a lot of, I think, probably the primary hard breacher on Clubhouse, so I understand 10 Star taking that one away. And then Azami Mira, that's 2 of your probably big 3-4 defenders taken out. I suppose that one's pretty standard.
Attackers need to locate and
thinking about the IQ ban, obviously it was Dunlimited who took IQ out of the run-in there, and we see an immediate round 1 pick on Solus, and I'm going to give a good guess that we're going to see a lot more Solus as the match goes on. But do you think that's where the IQ ban has sort of lent into, to give Hypex that freedom to play on Solus without worrying about being spotted out, you know, by an IQ as a potential counter?
Yeah, I mean, it's Solus, Capcan, Mozzie. There's a lot there that that Dunlimited are immediately going to play into. That you see, I'm not sure if 10 Star would have played the IQ, but it immediately enables those operators, right? You think, especially for Church Arsenal, the fact of a pulse as well that could be in play, the mute jammers. I absolutely understand why they would play these operators around that ban.
Going to be interesting to see the Solus played. We will, of course, have a little bit of a focus. We'll be keeping one eye on just exactly how Hypex and anybody else who plays Solus is doing, because, of course, it's a big fascinating point at the minute. We know the potential power of the operator. Very similar to IQ, but on defense, for those of you who haven't seen Solus or had chance to play that operator yet. It does have the ability to scan for electronics, ping them for the rest of the team. Can't use a weapon at the same time. But I believe, Fresh, you may correct me if I'm wrong, can use utility at the same time. So can use impact nades, for example, at the same time as using the scanner.
Yep, and we're seeing perfectly there, just understanding what's coming through, the breaching charge. You can see it from Solus as Yonka picks up the first kill. And I think with Solus, the ability is so strong in the early round, so strong in the late round, and then strong in the mid round with making flags. There's so much that she can do. And I feel like these CL teams with Solus can be more expressive, right? Because the EUL teams in the finals have got SI to think about all 4 of them, or all 2 of them now, whereas these EU CL teams, they're both unfortunately out of the SI quals already, they can really express themselves with this operator.
IWR, beautiful pickup onto Azza there. Really knew that his man was coming, just waited for the headshot. Jegs is going to get picked up. Opportunity arises inside a stock, so that leaves us in a 4v4. 10 Star with 1 player on low health. And look at this, we're just seeing that ability. You know, Solus, the immediate thing you go to is, yep, she can clear drones out. You know, yes, fantastic, she can clear drones out. She can help Bandit Trick. Of course she can help Bandit Trick. But there's so much more to it as well. Look at that, though. There's not going to be any more this round, Fred. It's the Noxo just takes Hypex out as he goes for the drop of the hatch, and that's what you've got to be careful with on the Solus, I think. Maybe just that little bit of overconfidence creeping in. Yeah, I know where this person is. I'm going to go and get that kill. But you got to ask that question. Do they know where you are?
Yeah, I was wondering if that was maybe a little bit of a bait by Yonka, or maybe just some unreal sick Spidey sense timing coming out of him there, to be honest. But, you know, that's good. That's good information. That's good man advantage. They've got 50 seconds to work with, and the hatches are open now. So we're looking at 10 Star executing and pushing all of those sides at the same time on the 3-2-1. I noted their composure was good in the pre-game, so this is their first opportunity to show that as Jegs moves his way through blue.
Gonna have to contend with Rorik on the Kapkan, who's been dipping in and out of blue. He's going to be stood in behind the generator, and he's just wasting time at the minute. This is good from him. Jegs doesn't really want to push forward and take this encounter aggressively because of his low health. Rorik has now fallen back into sight, but time has been wasted. 15 seconds left to go, and the Kapkan gets the kill. Army follows it up with one onto Xenoxo, and it's all going Dunlimited's way here. Rorik manages to get himself a second in the final phases, and it's all down to YZN as he pushes into church. 5 seconds left to go. 3 kills. He won't find any as IWI shuts him down, and that's going to be round 1 going to Dunlimited.
I think that was really good composure in the end from Dunlimited there. I think Jegs, you know, we highlighted him a lot and we will highlight him a lot, but I think he maybe went a little bit too early. I think when you're doing that kind of push and you're going to be going down the main stairs and you're going to be looking into going into Moto, then your player that's coming down the blue stairs has to be coming in as the backstab. Unfortunately, in that execute there, Jegs was the first person that died, and therefore it kind of fell apart. You saw that the Kapkan could just then stand in blue, facing up towards Church, facing up towards Moto, and picked up another couple of kills from it. So for Dunlimited, I think a good first round. 10-star showed good signs in the round, but you know, unfortunately, it was just that composure right at the end there, just from that one player of Jegs that unfortunately cost the round.
I really like what I saw from Rorik as well inside of blue, doing what I can never do, Fresh. On defense, 30 seconds left to go, and he didn't peek it.
Yeah.
The urge is there. He knows that somebody's going to be pushing into blue. He knows that Jegs is going to be going, and he's got every advantage. And sometimes it sounds like the easiest thing in the world, but as a defender, you just got to let the clock do the work. If you get pushed, yes, you've got to respond to that. But whilst they're not going to force you to move, Rorik did exactly what was needed from his team there and just played it absolutely perfectly. So moving on to round number 2 we go then. It's going to be Dunlimited on the defense again. It's going to be Gym and Bedroom this time around, so they're going to be taking us up to the top floor and showing us what they've got there. Now, I remember the BDS game yesterday, Fresh, and boy did teams have trouble holding onto this site defensively. Wondering if Dunlimited are going to show us anything a little bit different.
Yeah, I think we've seen, you know, I did the illustration on it. It was on this site from Dunlimited, is that, you know, I know it's 10-star attacking, but teams aren't afraid to, you know, go fast on the site. I think the biggest trouble that teams have attacking this site is often choosing whether they want to go for the jacuzzi only and then they're below with the nades, which it looks like Jegs and 10-star are going to be doing now, or whether you want to full clear it across from the cash balcony, CCTV, and clear your way across. They've actually brought the Maverick, which you don't see often. I think you would only really see a Maverick these days on Clubhouse, just to enable that breach. It is only a mute jammer that they're going up against, but, you know, the Maverick just makes sure you're absolutely getting it.
Xenoxo going to be pushing into the mid-floor there, just working underneath potentially. We did see a couple of vertical nade kills. It's something that we're seeing creeping back in a little bit. Obviously, when we had the Finker LMG meta Fresh, we saw so many of those nades being detonated from underneath, but the damage radius was altered a little bit, particularly to gadgets, so we see a little bit less of a presence, and a couple of operators had them removed as well, which is limited thing. Jegs is going to go for his man, but almost as if a sixth sense for Hypex there, just manages to duck out of the way.
That will give the information to Dunlimited now that there are players below looking for these nade kills, and it will give Rorik that freedom. And I said, good understanding from the Dunlimited players. If they're below and they're going for the nade kills, there's a very little chance that they're going for that east side clear across. That allows Rorik to play in Garage for free, to look for kills on the balcony. It also means for Dunlimited, they can start aggressing down onto these players, as we're seeing Xenoxo. He's used both his nades and he's taken a lot of damage now, so not much return for him.
They know that the main stairs is being pushed as we see the Nitro go out. Xenoxo is going to keep trying to get aggressive up here and finds his man at the same time. YZN does as well. IWI leveling things up as we have a quick flurry of kills and find ourselves in a 3v3. IWI still managing to lock down that spot that we see so often occupied by Shaiko in construction and doing a fantastic job of it as well. YZN has got himself into shower here, but look at how low the health is. He's thinking about getting a plant down, and you know what, Fresh? I think he's likely to stick this.
Yeah, Rorik doesn't look like he's aware that the plant's going down. He did have the C4 to deny, but unfortunately he's just caught napping a little bit as we see the plant go down. You're going to see Rorik knows that there's one outside of the window, but he's got to push him. He's got to jump out the window. He's got to find this kill. This is really well played by the Maverick, but unfortunately Rorik does find him. Does waste a lot of time though. There's only 20 seconds left to go, 25 seconds left to go. Jegs and Xenoxo left up. Rorik will go for the C4 as his comrade gets down. Jegs picking up a double kill at the end there from the main stairs, finds a kill both sides, and that's 1-1.
Dunlimited just left clutching at straws a little bit towards the end of the round there. Nitro's going out, jumping out of windows. It was all, I think, built around that mistake of not being able to deny the plant. You know, maybe manoeuvring somebody underneath, maybe pushing in from construction. Just they needed something to be able to prevent YZM from getting that plant down. But a great round from TenStar, not to take anything away from them. A couple of important kills, particularly Zenoxo just pushing up those main stairs. It really opened the round up a little bit, did that kill onto bedroom door, just gave them the space that they needed to get in there and get that diffuser down.
I think these two teams, as we're seeing from these first 2 rounds, they've come down to very small, minute micro mistakes, or not even micro mistakes. I think Zenoxo winning that fight at low HP on the main stairs was really the trigger that won the round for TenStar. And I think, you know, it's these small, you know, these are very evenly matched teams, both of them. And I think we've seen that in the 2 rounds that realistically we could have been looking at a 2-0 for TenStar or a 2-0 for Dunlimited. It's just those small things late round that's going one way or the other that's determining the round win. They will go back to Jim. They will double down on it. Now, Rovik's picking the cap can. He's not found any success realistically with the cap can. I know Jegs entered down here before and shot, I think it was 3 traps when he entered through from the strip side. So I think maybe later down in the day, maybe later on in the day, we might see him change off that cap can.
I think it's one of those operators, especially at this sort of level, you know, I think the returns are sort of diminishing as time goes on. You know, round after round, when they're familiar, right, they're bringing the cap can, they're bringing it every round. You know, teams, players of this sort of caliber, they shouldn't be getting caught out by those traps. You know, unless it's the last 15, 20 seconds, there's a bit of a rush on, they've just got to get somewhere and it gets missed. Other than that, they really shouldn't be getting picked up. So, as you say, Rorik might well choose to just drop away from that as the game progresses. But it's interesting to see us go back to Jim again. I commented coming into that round, it was a site that the defenders really struggled to hold on to yesterday, and it seems to be continuing that way today. Dunlimited, I think, need to get themselves a couple of early kills, and they need a man advantage here, because every time we've seen you know, an even man count coming into the final 30-40 seconds of this site recently, the attackers tend to come out on top. One
thing that I would say is TenStar have gone away from the nades. They've only got the nades on Jegs now. They're using Zenoxo to try and physically roam clear. They seem to have an idea that Rovik's actually gone down the main stairs. He was popping shots at drones on the main stairs. So this is really good by TenStar already. They've identified the man they want. They've identified his cut-off route, and Zenoxo has identified a free kill, a 5v4 for TenStar. This now allows Jegs to go in and go below and look for those nade kills as well. So certainly in the first minute 30, I think TenStar are winning this round so far.
Going well so far for TenStar on the entries as well, giving themselves, you know, those opportunities to get themselves into the round with an advantage. Going to be getting that jacuzzi wall open as well. YZN just taking a little breather, going to be checking the drones, just make sure as to whether he's going to be getting challenged or not. He hasn't taken the reinforcement off yet, but Jegs is going to take the feet off Ipex. Manages to delete the man from beneath with a nice vertical nade, and TenStar are doing everything right. There goes Zenoxo on the main stairs once again. Can he find himself a second army? He's trying to challenge, he's looking, he knows that they're there, but he's just caught between a rock and a hard place, Fred. Absolutely nowhere that he can step safely. It's all up to IWI. He's going to have to fight his way back in here. Can't do it as Jegs finds the long angle from bedroom, takes out the utility casually along the way, and that's going to be a flawless round for TenStar and another failed workout in the gym.
Really, really impressive stuff from TenStar there. I was a big fan of that in terms of their adaptation. They knew that Dunlimited were going to probably set up the same way, so they adapted it a little bit more. How could they go and find the kill onto Rorik? Can they then push up and go from basically the same play, but how can they double down on it? They determined that that was the thinker. They waited with the nades. There was a little bit more patient with the nades for Jegs to get that vertical kill, and then they exploded. I know the breach went a little bit wrong there for YZN, and he did pick it, you know, he did pick up in the end, but yeah, I was very impressed with TenStar. I think for Dunlimited, that's the first sign where we're seeing that's where they should have adapted. That's where they should have said, do you know what, TenStar, they're not coming from the east. They're not doing an east clear. We need to double down on our players below to stop Jegs, to stop Zenoxo. And they didn't do that. So in terms of the kind of tick in the book, I think TenStar, that was a big crucial round for them in terms of the adaptation game that they won. It's actually forced Unlimited away completely from the gym site. They're not going to go back to church. They're actually going to go to bar and stage.
I'll mirror the little bit of surprise that I think I heard in your voice there, Fresh, at them not going to Church and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Having won round one there, you think, right, if you're going to go to Bar and Stage, that's fine, no problem. But maybe go to Church and Arsenal, double down on the site you've already won, level things up 2-2, and then go to Bar and Stage and maybe see if you can get yourself a score advantage. A little bit of a risk here because a lot of what they're going to need to do here for Bar and Stage is going to be similar to what they've just failed to do in the last 2 rounds. What's Hypex doing here? Is he going to get away with it? No! He's going to dip himself away after trying a little peek there, but no joy for the Oryx. But yeah, to finish my point, it's an interesting one because they still need that top floor. They still need to hold on to similar locations to those that they were trying to last time around, and 10 Star could potentially sort of rinse and repeat here.
Yeah, 10 Star have already got more attacks than they did on when they last played Dunlimited on Clubhouse. When they last played them on Clubhouse, they had 5 attacks and only won 1 of them. So 10 Star have clearly gone away and worked on their things, knowing what's going to come up against Unlimited, and you know they've obviously executed 2 gym attacks pretty well. Now for Bar Stage, teams have to clear the top floor. I've seen teams try and do little half clears and cheesy plants, and to be honest, it never works. The reason being is there's so much information for the defenders in Bar Stage, and then they just play up above in master bedroom, bathroom, logistics, construction. So what you're going to see, as we can see 10 Star, they've already got the breach out towards that west side, the jacuzzi side. Yonka will likely throw his Yin Candelas in, and the explode will come in all at the same time to try and get rid of Army and Rorik.
Jex is going to be pushing in. The castle barricade allows him to, but Rorik just peeks him at the perfect time and shuts his man down. Zenoxo YZN getting the job done though. 3 kills between the 2 of them, and all of a sudden Dunlimited once again are on a massive back foot here, and I'm going to fall back to that site choice that I mentioned before. 10 Star have been able to execute, yes, in a slightly different way, but still showing a mastery of taking top floor control, and it has worked wonders for them. 4 versus 2, a minute 10 left to go. 10 Star have got everything they need for a 3-1 lead.
I think the Dunlimited boys now here, they need to be getting aggressive, and this is why you see in 10 Star completely pause. They're in that complete pause scenario. They know that Dunlimited, the win condition for Dunlimited now is getting aggressive, taking your ones, getting that retakes, and 10 Star are fully ready for it. They've got time to play with. If Dunlimited just allow 10 Star to execute, they will lose. IWI has done a good job there to pick up a 2v3. I'm now looking at where Hypex is going on the Oryx. Can he make a play happen? Can he find something back to level this out for 2v2? Otherwise, the round's going to go very clearly to 10 Star.
The next kill could be decisive in this round, whether that man count gets leveled up or not. 10 Star, they're sort of back to the drawing board. They're on the drones a little bit, they're holding their angles, but there's going to come a point where they have to go. IWI is just going to be pushing forward, creeping across. I'm not sure that they're aware of this. No scans available from the Lion of Zenoxo. They've had to drop down into sight. Do they know that Hypex is positioned on the main stairs? I don't think they do. There's an opportunity. He sees the backpack. He gets the kill. Can he find the planter? Of course he can! What a play from Hypex, leaving us now in a 1v1. It's all up to Jonka. 2 seconds left to go. Can he start putting the diffuser down? Yes, he can. But IWI knows he's got all the time in the world, Fresh. He's going to drop down, find his man. And that was a beautiful situational take from Dunlimited there. 2v4 into a win. Fantastic play, Hypex.
Loads of great things to love about that round. Lots of great high-level play there. I think particularly that 10-star execute, as we would call it in the first 90 seconds, to take the top floor. That was basically flawlessly played by them. I then think they let go by really not punishing IWI when he was getting aggressive. Anybody knows in Sieges that when you're in a 2v4, you cannot just sit back and allow the 4 players to just do what they want. You've got to get aggressive. You've got to find one. The 2v3 then becomes manageable due to the time, because one of the players has got a plant. That creates a 2v2 scenario. If you win your ones there, you've probably won the round. And I thought Dunlimited played that round out beautifully. I thought it was good initial aggression, and then to re-manage the time and manage the clock, then aggress with 5-10 seconds left. Really good recovery of the round. I'll be honest, it wasn't looking too good in the mid-round, but good recovery and a 2-2 on our hands. They will now go back down to the Church Arsenal site, the one that they won so convincingly.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's not a round that they should have won, is the top and bottom of it. You know, there's no way that 10 Star can be allowing them to come back in a 2v4 and win that situation. 10 Star had almost almost everything they needed to get that third round, and they might just kick themselves come the end of this, because that was an opportunity to be 3-1 up, and they might now find themselves 3-2 down if they can't overturn the result that happened in round 1, which was where they lost this basement site. Rorik, he's going to get potentially a little bit aggressive here. He's going to be playing up by the main door, just waiting for that push into lounge to potentially come. Just looking down the side of the defenders, there's only the mute on side, so no active tricking or anything, so no immediate necessity for TenStar to push into lounge. But if they don't pick up on Rorik's position here, he could well play spoiler.
It's certainly an off position, because you would expect players generally to be playing up on the top floor for these full clears, as we do see Dunlimited have players there. You wouldn't expect somebody to be just kind of lurking by main door. You maybe expect bar, you maybe expect lounge or stock, but never that kind of just main door. There's a lot of nooks and crannies you can see yourself in there, especially when you've got IWI on the Mozzie droning actively for the defenders. We've seen this a lot with certain teams in EUL, where they have an Echo or a Mozzie drone droning 4 defenders, and it can be a very strong thing, because attackers are usually not looking out for it too much.
Jack's just going to be... Ooh, missing his opportunity there. He's desperate to get that nade in, but a drone's just going to sit in his way. Jonker does manage to find the kill onto Rorik, though, which means if Hypex gets cleared out here, then once again, TenStar will be in a position of having everything they need to be able to win this round, and that is going to leave them in a 5 versus 3, potentially, if they can get Hypex without losing a man, and with plenty of time to push down into the basement. But for the time being, the Valkyrie is holding them in position. Nobody playing onto the gym window for TenStar is giving him a little bit of freedom here, and Hypex is burning more time than he really should be allowed to.
He's burning a lot of time, but look at the investment that TenStar are putting in to kill him. 1 below, 1 on the breach, 1 coming through from Master, 1's going to be on the window, and a Dokubi call. Hypex is absolutely burning the time and is doing a great job with it, but I assume that at some point he will be punished by TenStar. He surely cannot fight this out, and there's that kill. So, low time, but a 5v3 scenario ensues for TenStar. Now they need to go about the work. Xenoxo needs to get ripping that floor up as fast as he can, so that TenStar can find an execute, because they've only got 50 seconds to go and do it.
That's it. They've now got to sort of make that time up. You know, they did have to deal with Hypex, deal with the Valkyrie, because it was clear that he was going to play his life up there. So no way to just leave him out in the cold. But, you know, TenStar might just be a little bit lucky with the Hypex Nitro that went out as well. If the ledge outside the window was any longer, it might just have caught it before it descended below that critical radius. But for the time being, Army, this could be a good Nitro. Out to the bottom of main stairs. What a beauty, Fresh. Gets himself a double, swings onto the hatch, picks up a third, and what a play from Dunlimited. We had it from Rorik in round 1. This time it's the turn of Army. Absolutely huge play. Jegs, he knows that the flank is coming in from IWI, manages to find his man, but with time ticking down, there's no opportunity for Army to finish his ace. Unfortunately, he'll have to stick with a 4K, but what a 4 it was.
Yeah, it was incredible. It's that pressure relieving, it's that understanding of how they're going to play it with the time. With only X amount of time, there was no time for TenStar to actually take dirt. So if they can't take dirt, they will open kitchen hatch, they will have to force spot on main. At some point, he obviously knows the lineups. He obviously got that double kill on the C4, played it really well from that singular, basically 1 meter squared position around the bomb chassis to pick up a 4K and to win his team the round. Now, I came into this game, you know, when I did the pre-show, talking about how TenStar have got the composure in the late round. That's 2 rounds that they've mismanaged in the late round there, where Dunlimited have absolutely had the composure in the late round. And again, all of these rounds really could have gone the other way, Tim. This is, for me, this is 2 really good high-quality teams that it's so close. Every single round is so close at the minute, apart from that 1 flawless round that TenStar had.
It's fine, yeah, fine margins, absolutely. You know, like you say, it's taking one of those moments like we saw from Army there to swing the round one way or the other. The one thing that I will say for Dunlimited particularly is they certainly don't mind winning the round after taking the opening death. They've done that a few times now, so TenStar really cannot rest on their laurels once they get that opening kill. 5 versus 3 it was that time. We've seen them lose a 4v2, we've seen them lose a 5v3 now. There's going to come a point, Fresh, where they're going to be asking questions of themselves. It might just get into the mental a little bit. And, you know, reviewing the game afterwards, I'm sure they're going to be looking at those rounds saying, you know, they really should have been ours, but for Dunlimited coming out and winning the round.
Now, we've got a CCTV cache. And for anybody that knows me, this is a bit like you and Chalet, Tim, where you don't like the basement. Oh, unfortunately, Jegs, team kills his hard breach. That's going to make it a little bit harder. What I will say is that attackers should win this site every time because it is not a good site to defend. However, attackers with only one hard breach are going to have to shift things up pretty quickly, as we're going to see 10-star come out from a mouse side take. However, the point I was going to make was that as long as the attackers go through their procedures in a timely manner on this site, they should always win it because they can always squeeze the defenders out into basically positions where they've got to expose themselves and they should be punished. It's very rare that you will see, as we see a wallbang coming in from Jegster, it's very rare that you see defenders actually play the site well and win it if attackers do what they're supposed to do. It's normally based on attackers mismanaging their time, mismanaging their utility, or not attacking the site correctly. That's the only time that we really see defenders win it. And it just shows how good 10-star were at attacking Jim that Dunlimited have even entertained the idea of going to this site.
The hard breach might cause an issue later in the round. We've got one Selma charge remaining, which could be used to open that construction wall. But YZN going to have to be careful to make sure that he gets this done. And with IWI just sat behind the wall with the potential for bandit trick in there, he's got batteries in pocket, so he can play that if he wants to. Remember the recent changes whereby bandit can apply multiple utilities to the wall. So, you know, any sort of EMP, any sort of gadget that comes in there, it doesn't matter how they disable that battery, there's going to be an opportunity for him to throw another one down, and that could really change things up here. A beautiful kill underneath as well, and Dunlimited are seriously in the driving seat at this point.
That was the round winner. Nordwind understanding that that 10-star had to remove the bandit, and therefore making sure that he had his bandit's backside by killing the only nades that were available to 10-star. They can now not breach this master side wall because the bandit can sit and trick it, which means they're at 6s and 7s. They've got to find a way to win, maybe crouch walk in somewhere, and they're not going to find absolutely anything. Solo peeks, and it's all up to YZN on the breach. Will find one onto Hypex. There's one by the window. Does he manage to find him? No, Nordwind will close out the round. And again, Nordwind has been the absolute round winner there by getting that one kill onto Jegs below that meant that that master wall stayed, that cache wall stayed up, stayed bandited, stayed not breached.
I don't know if you saw how his second kill came about, but Nordwind just went for a stroll out of the breach fresh. Just had a little wander out of the breach and picked up the man on garage door, and then Hypex with a beautiful kill through the rotational line of sight in garage wall onto CCTV window as well. So just a fantastic play from Dunlimited. Got to give them the round. They've absolutely won that. It really did go downhill quickly for 10-star when the Hibana was taken out with the unfortunate team kill at the beginning. We've all been there. I can tell you almost 100% what has happened there, and that's taken out a default cam. It sounded like a one tap. Yeah. It's almost certainly just, you know, you cross paths as the default cam's getting taken out, or maybe, you know, there's an attempt of a spot, you know, they think there's an attempted peek or something, so it's a pre-fire onto a peek, and they've just run in front of each other. But it's basically, for me, pretty much lost them the round from that first 5 seconds.
Yeah, it completely changed how they approached the attack. It forced them into a master side clear, and it forced them to not go for a default, and it completely changed everything. And like I say, the one kill onto Jegs, the one team kill, the one kill onto Jegs, two massive moments in that round. However, 10-star have now got themselves onto the defense. They will now play the defense. They'll start on Church and Arsenal themselves. And it's kind of we expect most teams to do some kind of roam on this site. I would say it's a considered roam. There's a couple of people on site. Jegs is very close to site. Should a rush come in, it's only realistically Azza and YZN that are out and away from site.
My concern for 10-star here, and I don't know if you'll share it or not, Fresh, is with the way things have gone at the minute, I'm not convinced they're capable of a 4-2 on the defence here, if I'm honest. I think that could be a struggle for them. We've seen teams struggling to hold on to Gym and Bedroom. I don't know if 10-star are going to have that same problem or not. But then I start looking at, right, which two sites are you going to consistently lock down twice? I think there's a real opportunity for Dunlimited to just get this done and dusted here. This could be a 7-3, 7-4. I just feel like 10-star. I'm not saying they played badly. They haven't. They've had some good passages of play. It just maybe feels like the rub of the green hasn't been with them, and now they're in a position of, I feel like the best they get out of this is possibly overtime.
I think it is very small moments. Big entry here will be Jegs onto the nades of Nordwind. He does throw one Mind Magnet out. That surely means that Dunlimited are aware, and they will punish him, they will kill him, they will get that entry. So now that's positive for Dunlimited. They've got the positional advantage. They've got the entry kill. They also, well, they don't know about it, but they've potentially got a freebie and strip in terms of the Solace, who, as you know, we've got to say, has been somewhat ineffective on this operator so far in terms of Azza. Army has droned him and they will now presumably go and kill the Solace. So for Azza, it's all about, as we saw Hypex do it, it's all about wasting time. Even if he gets 10, 20, 30 more seconds here, it's time away from the execute, and that's what his objective is. It's not to find any kills, it's to stay alive as physically as long as possible that he can.
Yeah, there's no way out for him from here. Once you're in strip, you're stuck. That's a great kill from Xenoxo onto Nordwind, and it just gives the Solace actually a bit of an extra opportunity here. Azza's presence in strip now, whilst more important, is going to be ended. Caster Curse comes in. It's real. It's absolutely real. Rorik is going to take the Solace down. There was just an opportunity there for Azza. When it goes to 4v4, there's less of a problem him being there because his teammates are not as short-handed on site, and he can play a little bit more aggressively, maybe look for a kill, maybe really level things up. But the opportunity just didn't present itself like it did down in blue. But YZN manages to find himself a double before being shut down. Has he done enough to allow Yonka to get the win on this round? He sees the man move across. He knows that they're pushing Moto, manages to find one, drops the diffuser, switches to the shotty. Can he find the one pump that's going to win the round? No, Rorik somehow manages to make the peak. Jonka shut down in the 1v2 attempt, and Dunlimited take themselves to 5-2.
Oh, I don't want to go in on him. But I'm going to. If you just stay alive, spend 10 more seconds. Just 10 more seconds in strip. It got down to 10 seconds left there. You would have just about give Yonka enough time to clutch that out. Oh, that was so close. Good composure. Great composure again from Dunlimited in the late round. That has impressed me so much today because these rounds are very close. They're to-ing and fro-ing all over the place during the round. And it comes down to these executes, and it has done for both teams, where the execute is, you know, it's fairly even. It was, what, a 3v2 there when they executed, got down to a 1v1. It's been very even, and it's just been the Dunlimited players that have had that slight little bit more composure in the late round.
I've been really impressed with Dunlimited. Got to say, been very impressed with them so far. They've won a lot of their rounds. I don't think many rounds really here have come down to teams losing rounds. You know, and that's the way we want it. We want teams coming in and winning rounds. You've picked up on Azza in strip there. Again, we don't like to pile on players, but I got to pick up on it overall. It's not just about in strip there, Fresh. 0 and 6. It's just not bringing enough to the team at the minute. You know, I'm not saying that leaves you, you're not playing 4v5, but you're sort of playing 4.5 v5 maybe. You know, they just need that bit more contribution coming in from Azza. It could be the difference. It could be what gets them a couple of rounds. And if they, after the tack timeout, say Azza comes out, gets a couple of kills each round and helps the team out, and they get themselves to 4-5 on the scoreboard, all of a sudden we've got a game on. But if they can't do that and they're playing you know, with that disadvantage, and he's just struggling to find those shots, you feel like Dunlimited are going to get themselves onto match point pretty quickly at this rate.
10 start changing away on the site again. They're going to go for a gym and bedroom. Now obviously this was the site that, you know, Dunlimited couldn't defend twice, so 10 star are going to go there and give it a go. Azza once again playing the Solace, and you know, he's seen a couple of drones out towards that east side. He knows, therefore, and this is the power of Solace, this isn't denying the drones. It's seeing where the drones are outside a garage, knowing that the attack is very likely, therefore, to come from the east side. We saw when 10 star played it, they came from in strip and below and came upwards. You can now see the 10 star players reinforcing this area out towards the east side, out towards Cash, because Azza has seen those drones, which is obviously an indication of where the attackers are likely to spawn, and therefore likely where they are going to come from.
This is it. If Azza isn't going to find the kills, then it certainly needs to be feeding a lot of valuable information into the team from that Solace gadget. Now then, Hypex is going to just be moving in underneath in dirt. Now we absolutely love Fresh, a sneaky knock play, and I'm going to be keeping one eye on that silhouette because I want to see where Hypex pops up in this situation and how much damage he can do. It's reminiscent. It just screams leak effect to me, and I want to see if he manages to get as much success out of this situation.
He might be able to get himself up red, although I think there is a Malusi Banshee on red particularly, but it needs to be well timed because he does have a lot of advantage by the fact that Tensar do not know that he's there. The breach is starting to be opened by the Maverick. Again, we're seeing quite a lot of Maverick being played, and at some point you would assume Hypex is going to walk up those red stairs to try and find a kill onto Yonka, onto Azza that was playing around there. TenStar, they're still holding strong. They know this attack is coming out from the east side. One thing about Nook is actually Solis does see the ability, so there is a direct counter to Nook on the board should Azza catch a timing of when he uses that gadget.
That's it. It's all going to be about that siege timing. I'm just not sure it's with Azza at the minute in this game, but we'll see how it goes. Hypex, he's actually going to slip away underneath. He's not going to be looking to push up red stairs at the minute. It seems like he's maybe got a little bit of information on his side as he moved with some real purpose there. The cam's already been taken out from him, so he doesn't need to use that presence reduction device just yet. He's going to have an opportunity to potentially push up main stairs, and we saw the damage that Xenoxo did a couple of times pushing up these stairs. As it is, the Knocker's got himself established there, but not with any secrecy. I would expect TenStar to be fully aware of his presence.
The problem for Dunlimited is they've got very little map control. They didn't fully clear out the guys on the east side. They haven't cleared the jacuzzi side. They haven't played windows. They've only really got main stairs. They're going to have to explode into sight and hope they win their ones.
Nordwind's going to take a lot of damage there as Jegs manages to take IWI off the board as well, and exactly what you said, Fresh, they're just struggling for map control at the minute, but somehow managed to find themselves 2 kills. Those are the ones that they've got to win, and Xenoxo, he's going to be in an important position here, almost like a linchpin holding this defense together. Nade comes in, he's got an opportunity to challenge. He goes in and does so, downs Rorik. Jegs manages to find both kills, and Xenoxo finds himself what could be the round winner as Army now in a 1 versus 3. Pushes in, gets 1, but can get no more as Jegs shuts him down, and that is going to be a very important round for TenStar.
Big round for TenStar there. I think they held the ground really well. They were very stubborn using their utility. Obviously, they had the castle on the board in terms of trying to hold on to cash and construction. When you can hold on to cash, construction, CCTV, all those areas, that means there can be no window play by the attackers. When you can stay stubborn in bathroom and in logistics and in bedroom, that means there can be no kind of logistics play, there can be no breach play. And at the end, you're just forcing people through choke points to take 1v1s. And that's always going to be a gamble for the attackers when that is the ultimate plan. And I think TenStar played that round really well. I think they needed it. And now they're going to go to bar stage again. This time, Tim, there's Church and Arsenal available that they could have gone to, but they're actually going to go to bar and stage.
Where have we seen this before? Where have we seen this before? Well, Dunlimited were able to win out. That was the 2v4 round?
Yes.
That was the 2v4 round that Dunlimited were able to win out. So let's see if TenStar can replicate. Well, I'm sure they won't want to replicate it completely. They'll maybe looking for a 4-2 versus rather than a 2 versus 4. But we'll see how the round plays out. This is, for me, very important for TenStar here. If you remember, in that tactical timeout, I said it really depends what happens from this point forward. I was looking for a little bit more from Azza. That hasn't been delivered just yet, although some of the information from the Solis may well have been key in the last round. But if nothing else, TenStar got the round done. If they get this one won as well, they're in touching distance. There's only 1 round in it, and all of a sudden you start feeling like, yeah, that tactical timeout really worked. We found the answers, and that confidence is going to be building. So TenStar, this is, for me, a must-win round if they want to go on to win the map.
And I've got 2 worries with TenStar for this round. The first one is that they're extended fully across the top floor. Normally, you will see teams set their line at construction and try and defend only construction towards master. As why I said, has left his Echo Drone out too long, and it will get disabled. And the second worry is now compounded, which is a lack of information. They only had 2 Echo Drones for information on site. Normally you see Valkyrie. Normally you see Maestro, bulletproof cameras. We are only seeing 1 single Echo Drone as information, and obviously the default cam for TenStar in terms of sight. If Dunlimited realise this, they can probably get any kind of the half-clear plants that I was talking about not being very good due to the information. If the information's not there, they can definitely do a half-clear onto this and probably find some success. So, yeah, I'm not so sure on the Fawn pick, the Solis pick, and the Alibi pick in conjunction with each other.
Look at this aggression coming in behind those Candelas. Nordwind is looking for the peak onto the top of red stairs. They've got rid of the shield. This is all up to Jegs winning those gunfights. We know that he's capable. He knows he's one on the breach. Bad timing as he gets the impact nade out, but he gets away with it. Does some damage, but not for long as Rorik, he's going to shut him down as he tries to rotate back into cash, leaving us now in a 5 versus 4 advantage Dunlimited.
And this is why you can't extend out towards the east, because you can't put enough utility investment in terms of people and utility on the top floor, because you have to have some kind of investment in sight. That's reinforcement investment, that's people investment. Jegs has paid the price for that because realistically he can play nowhere else. He's in that position for good now. He has to play to fight, and this is what Dunlimited have, they've squeezed him out very well. They've got the the man count advantage, they've got the control, and they can now go through with their execute. Yonka will be droned out, he will be spotted, but he will have to leave because of that thoroughness of the droning. They can now go and push out and go for a plant on the stage because the construction wall is also open. So TenStar are going to have to probably play for a retake here.
Jonka moves back up the main stairs on the Solus. The Solus, of course, super powerful on those vertical denials of plants. Wouldn't be possible here because there's not really any destructive surfaces that lead into plant spots, but at least you can feed that information into your team. Not going to be possible now as he's been forced back upstairs. Azza is going to get that first kill of the game. See if that is a little bit of a catalyst for him to get more. And look at this fresh double comes in from YZN. Jonkas and Oxo all finding kills. And what a top floor retake it is from TenStar as they manage to hold on, get the verticals down into sight, and just shut Dunlimited out. Important round for TenStar.
The 101 of bar stages, if you're going to plant on the stage, you need to control that hatch, and apparently Dunlimited just forgot that bit and didn't control the hatch, the construction hatch, that the Fawn ended up getting those couple of crucial kills there, killing the planter and killing the final player alive there. Good round from TenStar overall. I will say it, I'm not particularly convinced by the strategy, but they managed to find a way to make it work in the execution in terms of the retake. 4-5, they will get to go back downstairs. So we're going for a full rotation for TenStar now. Obviously, gym is locked. Obviously, bar stage is now locked. They've got to go back down to church, which they did end up losing, even though it did go down to 1v1.
I'm interested to see from TenStar how much of a presence they have around the map. We saw it from Dunlimited. We saw Hypex up in that top floor trying to waste as much time as possible, but didn't really pay dividends too much. It still, like you say, came down to the 1v1. But if TenStar can maybe just have a little bit more of an effect up on the top floor, waste that extra 10 or 15 seconds that we saw them fail to do last time, then maybe they get the job done. Interesting. We're going to have Azza moving across to the Legions, and Noxor this time it is going to be on the Solus, and he's going to be upstairs using that gadget looking downwards instead. I
think we're seeing TenStar realising the value of the Solus, or what their perceived value of the Solus is going to be, and they really want to work it into every single site. We've seen it so far every single time from them, and you know, this is, like I said, we might see the teams be more expressive. Now obviously when they defended this last time, it was Jegs that got caught out playing his stock. It's now going to be, I believe, Yonka that's there. Needs to basically know when to leave, because that's one thing that Jegs didn't know last time, and it put themselves in a 4v5. Dunlimited, they're going to go through, they're going to go and take the full clear, as we see teams tend to do these days. Even when it's a roam, they don't tend to rush anymore. Thatcher's on the board, so you would expect that this wall's going to be opened in double time once they confirm that there is no bandit there to trick the wall. And that's what's going to happen. IWI opens the Jacuzzi breach.
And give access across that top floor to start with that roam clearing process. IWI going to be looking in towards main stairs, but it's logistics that he needs to be cautious of. Able to take out the default cam, but that's going to leave Azza aware that somebody's going to be actively pushing from the Jacuzzi breach. This could be Azza's moment. He's picked up his kill. I commented whether it might be a catalyst for him for the rest of the game, and we might just see the seal broken and him finding more and more kills as it goes on. And this could be an important start for him if he can just pop up and pick up IWI. It just seriously removes a lot of the vertical ability that Dunlimited have got to open up into sight. It would put a lot of pressure then on them keeping Nordwind alive, but for the time being it looks like Azza's going to dip away, I think, from main stairs as the top floor clearance continues, but there's going to be absolutely no clearance going on there, as it's not Azza but instead Zanoxo who manages to find IWI, take down the book, and that is a big first kill. And you can see TenStar say, yep, that's enough for us. 2 minutes, 1 kill and some vertical destruction gone. We're going to go and sit in sight. Thank you very much.
It feels like the momentum of this game has completely changed in these last couple of rounds. Dunlimited are looking very slow, looking like they're not really wanting to go and clear things, not really wanting to go and take man advantage, and in the end they're left executing with very little to their name. Jegs picks up 2. Will he find a third? There is a Koyo canister going off. They're all lining up for him. Jegs picks up a 4K to win the round in double quick time there. And again, Dunlimited, they didn't take much map control, they didn't punish TenStar's roam, and they suffered their fate.
Well, what a tactical timeout it was, Fresh. We've seen TenStar win every single round since. 3 in a row they find themselves on now, and it is levelled up. And speaking of tactical timeouts, Dunlimited are going to pull the cord. They're going to take theirs now because they know that they are getting beaten and battered around this map at the minute, and there's absolutely nothing that they can do to slow TenStar down on the defence. It's been a great performance over the last 3 rounds and a real swing, and what a game we've seen so far. Dunlimited having such a strong start, then TenStar with the comeback, and you just know that this is going now to a minimum of 12, and I can smell overtime already.
I think the desk they prefaced this game, they said Dunlimited are a little bit more even in their statistics, and TenStar are a little bit more top heavy in theirs, and I think you can absolutely see that by the scoreboard in the pause there. Obviously Jegs and Noxo, the kind of, well, especially Jegs is, the front man on this team that picks up a lot of kills. The Noxo has his times as well. And I think, we're seeing that come out from TenStar, and like you say, 12 rounds. We had a circuit breaker with TenStar's timeout. They acquired a lot of momentum after that, so we're looking at what Dunlimited can do with their timeout, whether they can find these last 2 rounds, because, they've lost in the last 7 rounds, I think they've lost basically, 5 of them? So, the momentum for them is not going too well.
Not at all. Not at all. TenStar, they just need to keep things rolling here. They need to make sure that that tactical timeout doesn't become a circuit breaker, doesn't just take the wind out of the sails. They're going to be defending gym and bedroom this time around. We saw it back in round 8. It was the first TenStar win of the rotation of sites that we saw. So they're going to be looking for more of the same. That much is for sure. Whoever wins this round, obviously it takes a big advantage because they are going to be the ones with the opportunity to win the map in regulation time. It's going to only go to one team. There's only going to be one side that has that opportunity, and it's going to be the winner of this round. And I've got to take my hat off to TenStar coming into the second half. I'm banged to rights. It's there on the VOD. I said I didn't think that TenStar were capable and that overtime was maybe the best that they could hope for. Given a win in this round, 4 rounds in a row, what a defensive performance it's been.
Yeah, it certainly has been. Obviously, they're going to head back, on the full rotation now. They're going to go to the gym and bedroom. And I'm looking for Dunlimited to basically take map control a little bit faster and actually take some map control. If you remember last time, they basically opened the breach, but they didn't walk in it. They couldn't clear the guy out of Garage. And TenStar, very brave to actually play a player inside of Garage on a gym defense of Jegs. And obviously, why wouldn't you with Jegs' talent? But that's the reason why, is you can't take CCTV if there's a player in Garage, so you've got to take Garage first. Certainly, that's what Nordwind does, takes it into his own hand, Dokkaebi calls and just walks in the breach using the smokes really well. And this is better from Dunlimited, because previously they couldn't kill Jegs. This time they've killed Jegs, they've killed Zanoxo, they've left Yonk on his own. They're setting themselves up to be in, at worst case scenario, I believe, probably a 4v2.
Great play so far from Dunlimited. Fantastic aggression to get in there, and as soon as that kill went onto Jegs, you just really felt that TenStar's backs were to the wall. Let's remember they're in a gym and bedroom site here, and they've still got 2 players out in cash and top of red stairs. If Dunlimited get in and kill these 2, that leaves them with only 1 left on site, and that is something that TenStar need to be seriously thinking about. And I don't want to keep picking up on it, but one of those players that's trying to hold them out of cash is Azza. 1 kill so far in the game. He's not winning his fights. And to be relying so much on that player stopping this, onrush of Dunlimited attackers, it's a lot to ask. He's on low health already, and it just feels like there could be a real weakness over on that east side of the map that could be exploited by Dunlimited here, but they need to make sure that they're not stalling out.
I think that's the thing so far, is they've really slowed the pace up. Obviously, they're going to go for the Jacuzzi breach now and really just try and move these 10-star defenders around and really try and force them. The impact will come out to try and just do some damage onto the Maverick. Only 50 damage done by YZN. And I think that's the thing, is as this time trickles on, I thought this round was a dead set Dunlimited round. As this time trickles on, Dunlimited are handing it back to TenStar, especially if TenStar can find 1 or 2, because they will get aggressive. They know the situation. They will have to get aggressive on the breaches, on the windows, on the hatches, as you can see there, and only 25 seconds.
Exactly that. For some reason, Dunlimited mid-round have just completely taken their foot off the gas. They're going to have to find that pedal once again. Rorik manages to find Jonker, the only full hit point. I was just about to say it, the only player with full hit points. We had Azza left, we had YZN left, both on about 15 health, and it went down quickly from there. It's going to be Dunlimited that managed to find that round. The tactical timeouts have been so important in this game so far, Fresh. I think pivotal is a fair word to use to describe those tactical timeouts. Each time they've been used, whoever it was has gone on to win the following round, and what an important one that was for Dunlimited. Round 11 goes to them, and they get the map point opportunity.
I think I criticised Dunlimited early in this game where I said that when they defended Jim that they didn't adapt well enough, knowing that 10-star would adapt and would have that adaptation in the next round. That reverse criticism now applies to 10-star, where they had to believe that Dunlimited were going to do something different rather than just not take any map control. And I guess it was that awareness of maybe trying to protect Jegs in Garage a little bit more, maybe moving Jegs away from Garage a little bit more and playing it out in a little bit more of a default manner, because Dunlimited was certainly going to try something different than what they did the last round. And I think 10-star got caught short a little bit there on their adaptation game and paid the price, and obviously they're now, you know, scrambling to try and find overtime. Dunlimited in the ascendancy. It's a very similar scenario here, I think, with, you know, what I said about in terms of the extension for the bar and stage and really extended to top red stairs and trying to hold on to cash and construction. If Dunlimited are aware that there's very little info and are aware that there's a big top floor extension going across the whole of the top floor, maybe they can adapt and try something a little bit different.
Here we go then. Round number 12 is our last of regulation. The best that 10-star can hope for now is to even things up and go on a 4-2 half, which would match what Dunlimited were able to do on the defence and would give them overtime. It's the only way that they're going to be able to lock down Clubhouse as the first map here in the Challenger League 2022 EU Final. And they are going to be throwing absolutely everything at this. But Dunlimited once again working in underneath with Hypex on the knock. It wasn't particularly influential last time, Fresh. Is this going to be the moment?
I'm wondering if he... it might be, actually, as the alibi does not seem aware, and Azza does get punished on that alibi, and he does find that first kill on the Nook. He might be able to, and what I was going to say is, with the Nook, he might be able to make a play into sight, as IWI has done the same, and this is that opportunity spotting from Dunlimited. They've got the site players dead. They've only got the top floor to consider now. With very little information, this could be very easy to achieve a plant.
This is, I'll say it again, I've said it a couple of times to Dunlimited, a round that they absolutely should be winning. Hypex manages to pick up Jegs as he runs out and tries to get something going. Zenoxo's going to double down on it, and he almost misses his shots there as Hypex hits the deck. But Zenoxo, looking lively, manages to find his man. IWI, surely he is the man crouched across the top of the stairs, though. Jonker, he's pinched at the minute. He's got one out on balcony. He's got one behind him. It's going to be Nordwin that manages to find the kill, and it's 1v4 for Zenoxo now. He has to do it all if he wants to keep 10-star in this. Let's not forget, between these two teams, we did see previously a 1v5 in that previous matchup, but it is surely going to be too much to ask to hope for that to happen again. Zenoxo takes out that Gemini clone and then retires upstairs to try and hold on.
Plant's starting to go down from Nordwind, and, you know, this is pretty much an impossible retake. They will know that he will be above. He will find one onto the IWI as the plant is eventually confirmed by Nordwind there. What are his options? Is it going down the stairs? Is it drop the hatch? There are so many angles that he needs to think about. Try and identify those 1v1 engagements. Only has 30 seconds left. Realistically, 20 seconds with the diffuse timer to try and find anything. It's looking less and less likely as all the attackers have filtered themselves outside of sight, holding those long angles. Only 20 seconds left. He's going to look like he's potentially going to go down the staircase. Makes it down main stairs, pre-fires into bathroom towards strip, finds one, and that will be the time taken by Army. Plays it very well, even though he gives his life. He's won the game and won the round for his team. Nordwin eventually finding the closing death, and that will be Dunlimited taking 10-star's map pick in this EU final.
What a start that sets up for us. Dunlimited, as you say, breaking the map picks, taking the first, and you've got to start asking questions about that map banning, Fresh. You know, we know that 10-star lost this map to Dunlimited previously. Dunlimited beat Makers on it as well in the lower bracket final. It's a map that they're well versed in, a map that they're capable on, and they have really doubled down on that, showing us that they were able to get the win against a good 10-star. But what a matchup it sets up for us for the rest of today.
Yeah, there's a lot of the Dunlimited players, you know, they want to express that they should be here, that they deserve to be here over the likes of Makers, over the likes of Wild, and they've done that by taking out their opponent's map in the first pick. Now, that's going to be all for us for this first map. We are going to send it back to the Divas